All right, welcome back to the Golf Podcast. We've got today the guys from BustaJack back on the show. Believe it or not, Mike, it's been 8 months since we last had them on.
Yeah.
And a lot has changed. And they're also undertaking, I would say, one of the most ambitious projects on all of golf YouTube. The boys are going to be playing 50 states in 50 weeks.
Could you imagine?
I cannot imagine. They're calling it Golfin Old Glory. They've already into this. They're about 17 states into it. They're playing one golf course in each state, and they are going to accomplish all 50 states. If you haven't been watching this, it's been a really incredible series to see how they've been grinding it out. But where I'm really interested, and I want to dive in with them, is find out what's going on between the videos. Yeah. The amount of coordination and travel and work that goes into a project this big.
Being able to film and exactly.
It's incredible. But you know what? It shows that the audience is responding to it because their growth has also been explosive. They're coming up on 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. The videos have gotten so much traction. Some of the people they've been playing with, Josh Allen, big names like that. Yeah. It's really great to see their whole journey. So we're going to bring them on the show now and talk to them about what goes into trying to accomplish playing golf in 50 states in 50 weeks. Let's jump into our interview now.
All right, so welcome back to the show, Mason, Cole, Busta, BustJack. Boys, it's been a bit. How you guys been?
Wonderful. Thanks for having us. We're excited to be back on the show. We've been great, traveling a lot. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, and we're going to dive into it because we want to hear the whole story about Golfin Old Glory. But first, did you guys eat? You all satisfied? You need more muffins? Or are you good?
Oh, dude, look at me. I've been eating plenty of muffins.
Those muffins, man. Every time I see a muffin now, I think of you boys. And that goes way back to our August of last year back at Whistling Straits. Some great times we had. But we've now, 6, 7, 8 months now. Holy cow, 8 months passed. And Golfin Old Glory has kicked off. So we're stoked to talk about it. Where are you guys right now? Are you guys on the road?
We're actually a little break right now, but
okay,
back on the road in a few days. Yeah, it's pretty nonstop.
I can only imagine. So tell us, where did this idea come from? And I would imagine how many people in your lives, girlfriends or otherwise, thought it was crazy when you said you're about to do 50 states in 50 weeks. I mean, it's for us following along, it's entertaining as hell. But for you guys, I got to imagine it's a grind. So where did this idea first come from?
We were on a call with his name's Jackson. He helps us with ideation. And he was like, dude, nobody's ever done it about it. And we were like, all right, we're doing it. And we started planning it. And that was in October. So we just kicked it off, and here we are every week. A new state every Sunday. Well,
so now when you say you kicked it off, does this mean you're flying by the seat of your pants here? Or like how much of this is planned out? Like, do you have X amount of courses and states lined up? Are you batching states? Or is it just like an opportunity arises, you go, you check it off the list?
Pretty.
Jack,
sometimes we have a pretty good plan. But a lot of the times it's good weather in Kentucky right now. But like some states like Alaska, we have planned for June. Like the big ones, you kind of have to plan like that. But a lot of the time the weather is the biggest thing. So it kind of has to be last minute planning in a lot of places. Because if, you plan out a 3-state trip and it's just raining all day, then you're screwed. Like you got to go back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we actually have kind of found that planning like a week to 2 weeks before is the sweet spot, because you can see like the 15-day forecast and then you just really hone in on a golf course, and then you're playing in a different state.
And you guys have, speaking of the courses, you guys have played already a bunch of really great tracks, but there's some that are like the big name courses and some that are lesser known. So how do you pick that? Is it something that you guys have in mind that you want to do? Is it kind of like viewer generated? Are you getting suggestions? Like, how do you decide? Like, you're playing one course per state. That's a big decision.
Yeah, it's
it's tough to like pick one. Obviously there's like states, there's like an elite golf course and like we're honed in on that. We're going to play it. Like Indiana French Lick was like pretty much no question, especially for the camera. But like Kansas, for instance, we had to have a state. That golf course was 45 minutes away from the airport, and we flew in that morning, filmed it, and we were back home by 9:00 that night. So
that's how we got
that one.
Talk about a commute.
That one,
yeah.
That one worked out well because like the golf course was really good. It was the number one public course in the state. Obviously, there's other golf courses and more private ones, but it's like tough to allow us to film it, for them to allow us to film it. So we have to fight that sometimes. But other than that, like if they're play.
Has there ever been a course where like you dying to get on it, you got on it, and someone says, "Hey, yeah, you could play, but you can't film it," and then what?
Yeah, unfortunately, that has happened.
It's a little soon.
Oh, it is too soon.
Too soon.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Can you tell us the course?
It was Valhalla.
Oh, okay. So Kentucky, right? Yeah.
Yep, number one course in the state, hosting the PGA Championship next year. And we finally got on. It was very hard to get on. And then they just said, can't film. So we just played for fun. And it was probably the best time I've had.
That's interesting. Would you have flown out there knowing you couldn't film it? Or did you find out when you were there you couldn't film it, or before you went?
So we have actually flown out to places without tee times a lot, just because the weather's good. And then it's like, let's just try and get a tee time. And usually we always do. And a lot of the times we don't find out till the night before or even the morning of. But that was an instance where we got on the night before, like we got confirmation that we got a tee time, and then the GM or director of golf or whatever was just not having it.
Really?
Yep.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, we know it. We run into roadblocks. We're working on doing our own series. We're not, we're married men. We're not crazy as you guys. We're not going to do 50 states, that's for sure. But we're playing our way through the top courses in New Jersey with the goal of getting on Pine Valley. But we see it same thing. Like sometimes you even get some yeses and people want, or members want to bring you out, and then the board or somebody shuts it down with some of these private courses. But I think the good news is, like, as a series like yours is gaining so much traction, I feel like at least it's got to make it a little bit easier because it becomes more well-known, and then people want to be a part of that. So hopefully you guys will have some of that wave that you can ride as you go through the, like, you got what, 17 done so far, something like that?
Yep. 17.
Yeah, and we've got 2 in the bank. So, or 3 in the bank. So we're through 20 states. But
wow.
Yeah, I heard you ask the question earlier, do we batch it? Yes, we do. In most instances when it's possible. Like last week, we flew into Atlanta, drove to Tennessee, played Tennessee. Then we flew to Baltimore and we played Maryland, Virginia, and D.C. So, we put them in batches most of the time if we can.
Yeah, well,
Makes
the good
sense.
news is, like, when you get like up here, eventually you guys hit the Northeast, there's a lot of those states you could just drive and hit a bunch all at once. I mean, I say it like it's easy. It's still not easy, but at least it's easier than being on a plane all the time. The one I got to get your take on, though, Tobacco Road, Strand's design. To me, when we played it, I don't feel like there was anything else like it on the planet. It felt like you're on a different planet. What did you guys think playing that course for the first time?
I thought it was great. I really liked it. It was actually because people were like, "Why are you not playing Pinehurst? Where's Pinehurst?" And we had this conversation a lot, we went back and forth on which one to play. But we landed on Tobacco because so many people have already filmed at Pinehurst. But the course was awesome. I've heard, some people hate it just because it's too like Mickey Mouse and gimmicky. The greens are just, so undulated that it's stupid sometimes. But I really liked it. The course was really cool. You're right. I haven't really played anything like it, and I was a big fan.
I love Tobacco Road. We played it and it was like freezing cold. So that messed with our rating a little bit because we rate the golf courses on the 18th hole every video. And in my opinion, it's too low. We need to re-rank it, in which we will go back through at the end of the trip or at the end of the series and re-rank everything because it is too low. It's an elite golf course and it's a lot of fun. And if you haven't played it, you should. I played Pinehurst number 2. It's cool because of the history, but Tobacco Road's a better golf course.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Couldn't agree with you more. I mean, we did our whole Pinehurst trip and we played 6 courses there, including number 2. We played number 2 and
on
Tobacco Road on the same day. And all those, all those reasons. And it is a course, not especially number 2. It's a mega course you got to play. I thought number 4 was terrific, but the one we just ended up organically talking about was Tobacco Road. It just left this burn in our brain. Now, speaking of those ratings, by the way, which is funny because we really batch our content and some of our stuff we had filmed months ago, right? And we started doing a rating system too. Of course, we got called out in the comments for copying you guys, not knowing that you guys were rating. So that's on us. So sorry about that. But we had filmed it so long ago. But anyway, I digressed. What I wanted to know is how do you guys pick? Because I know you guys do 9 holes for these too. How do you pick which 9 you play? Because on Tobacco, you guys play the back 9, right?
Yeah.
So how do you go about picking that? Which ones is going to be on film?
We try and give 18 holes when we can. Some mornings like Kansas, when we got up at 3:30 in the morning and flew there and played, we are not ready to film all 18. Right when we hop out of the car, off a plane in the car to the golf course, we're just not ready. We have to warm up a little bit. So we give you 9 there, but we typically just ask the clubhouse, ask Pro Shop, hey, what's the better 9? And whichever one they say is what we'll film. But we try to give 18 when we can. But with BustJack editing it and the travel schedule, sometimes it just doesn't work out. We can't film all 18. We'd love to on every single golf course. It's just not possible.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's certainly a lot of work. The other thing I want to ask you guys, a couple of along the way so far in the series, a couple of incredible guests. Josh Allen, I'm thinking about how does something like that come about? Is it just you guys are reaching out to these guys, or are they reaching out to you, or how do you end up with some of these really cool collaborations?
Yeah, that one was really cool, and that. I don't know if there's very few people on this earth that would top playing with Josh Allen just because he's literally top 5 quarterback in the league. He's so big, but I really don't know how it came about. Kyle Allen was who we talked to. He followed us a few months ago on Instagram. DM'd him a couple times, and it was a super last-minute trip to LA. We were actually in Scottsdale, and we're let's just fly out to LA real quick, get California just because we're kind of already over here. But we DM'd Kyle Allen, and it's hey, we're going to be in LA tomorrow or whatever day it was. And he's you want to play? Because initially – that was just going to be a Thursday video with Kyle. And initially he actually asked Sam Darnold to play with us, but Sam couldn't play. So he's I'll ask Josh Allen. I'm okay, sounds good. And Josh said yes. And it was the hardest thing in the world to find a golf club that had availability, because LA had received like a month straight of rain, and that was like the second day in a month that it's been sunny. So everything was packed, and luckily Strawberry Farm
soaked.
Yeah, and so luckily Strawberry Farm really took care of us and allowed us to film and made room for us. So we're very appreciative of them, because that was a pretty crazy day.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, I noticed you, speaking of collabs, you actually you came off one recently from what we saw. Fat Perez, who else was out there? Micah Grant. I mean, you got a collection of sticks out there. I mean, what kind of content do we have in store for that?
Oh, you got a special one coming.
Yeah, it's you'll probably have to wait a little while for it, but it was electric and it was awesome, and it's going on Grant Horvat's channel, and I don't know if a day of golf will ever top that day.
That's great. Well, let me ask you this: of that group, who would you say tee to green is the best golfer in the group? And you can feel free to say one yourselves.
You'll find out when that video comes out.
All right. Stay tuned.
You put him on the spot and he threw it right back on you. Yeah.
Question. Now, George Bryan was actually supposed to go to that as well. But he got sick. He had like 100-degree fever the day before and had to cancel last minute. So if he would have been there, absolutely, George. He's an incredible golfer.
Yeah, for sure.
Just all roundabout way. But yeah, you'll have to watch the video. It's a really good one.
You'll have to watch the video, but I'll say Matt, Jack, and I are quite the 1-2 punch.
Well, we know that firsthand. Because even your worst ball, in our case, was a 1-2 punch that was tough to compete with. All right, guys, we'll jump right back into our interview with the guys from BustaJack in a second, but want to take a second to thank this week's sponsor, the first being Titleist. And guys, we've gotten a ball fitting before. We've learned so much from getting fit to the right ball for us. And in fact, we know it's a smart thing to revisit from time to time. So we're going to be getting fit once again. And the reality is we all aspire to outperform the player that we were yesterday. That's why we take this journey. That's why we grind. And it takes practice, it takes commitment, and trusting your golf ball will perform the way you want on every type of shot. And the new Titleist Pro V1 and Pro V1X are the most advanced yet, and they're going to help reward your best swings like never before. Both models are longer, they're more consistent, and they feature that unrivaled control that if you felt it around the greens, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And like I said, I'm going to encourage you, go get fit. But generally speaking, that Pro V1, it's the best combination of distance, spin, and feel in the game. And it really delivers that penetrating ball flight. But for those of you who want a little bit higher flight, maybe spins a little bit more in the short game, you've got the Pro V1X as another option. It still gives you that low spin on the long game, driver shots, maximize your distance, but you get a little bit of that higher flight. Really, it comes down to testing them and getting fit. So you can find out more about the new Pro V1 and Pro V1X, including which one's going to be the best choice for your game at Titleist.com.
And of course, we got to thank FootJoy, the #1 shoe in golf, because they offer the widest selection of sizes, styles, and performance options of any golf shoe out there. So whether it's the all-new Hyperflex and Hyperflex Carbon, which is finely tuned to power your game, or the Premier Series, the shoe that is far and away the choice of more tour players than any other shoe, worn by the likes of Justin Thomas, Max Homa, Jessica Korda, so on and so forth. I can name so many on tour that play this shoe. So trust the brand that's been #1 forever. Trust your game to FootJoy, the #1 shoe in golf. And also, if you guys haven't already, have you pulled the trigger on a mobile launch monitor? I know they're gaining such huge popularity.
That whole show talking about how we think they're going to be in every hand eventually. Right?
And we know that's the way it's going. So if you aren't one that's done it yet, you got to take a look at the Rapsodo mobile launch monitor, the MLM2 Pro. Now it gives you all of the metrics that you need. This little device is packed with so much technology: distance, ball speed, club speed, launch angle. That's just to name a few. But what I love the most are the data visualizations that this thing offers. They got this shot dispersion feature, a visual overlay of every shot you hit on the range, color coded for each club with pinpoint distance and accuracy. I mean, you can optimize your club gapping. You get your wedges dialed in. I mean, you can really fine tune your driver, fairway woods, basically your whole bag. You can get dialed in if you have the right technology. You can use it indoors. You can go outdoors on the range. It's portable. You could play simulator golf on it. Guys, I can go on and on forever. I mean, this thing it's $699.
Yeah, and for as great as it is, I would also say don't sleep on the original Soto MLM, which now the price is incredible. It doesn't have all the features of the MLM2 Pro, but if you're looking for something to get out there, get some of those launch numbers out on the range, you guys can now get it for $399.
Yeah.
I mean, that is it's at this point we're looking at launch monitors at the price of some range finders. But to get that price, make sure you use our code Golficity MLM, all lowercase. You got to get $100 off. It's 20% off. You're going to get the original MLM for $399. So no matter which one you choose, you cannot go wrong. Go and check them out, rapsoto.com. And now let's get back to our interview with the guys from BustaJack. It's proof of how much you guys are really in and out at these. Because like I said, watching it, you would never know like that you guys are just how quickly, like you said, 2 weeks in advance, how quickly these are planned and how much you guys are in or out. But the question that I have is that, okay, so now let's say we get to the end of this series, you know, you've done all 50 states. When you have a project this big, I mean, it's a massive accomplishment and it's awesome when it wraps up. But then the big question is like, how do you top it? Like, have you guys even thought of like what the next series might be after something like this?
Oh yeah. Should we break news here?
Break news.
We are always ready to break some
We
news.
love to.
Let's go.
Do you want breaking news?
We do.
Yeah. Okay. For the year 2024, BustaJack will be playing golf in every continent. And
that's awesome.
yes, we are going to Antarctica.
Let's go. That's awesome. Well, that's cool, boys.
From the guy who doesn't like planes. Wow. You're certainly setting yourself
You got to take
up.
a ship. You got to take a ship to Antarctica, so I'm all right there.
Okay.
But my bigger question is, once you get there, where you play?
We're just gonna
Dig a hole in
bring
the
a
ground.
club and dig a hole.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love it.
And then 2025, BustaJack goes to the moon, right? Every
that's
planet, Mars,
Golf on
every
every
planet
Yeah,
in the
golf on every
solar system.
planet.
The moon's the warm up. I
Golf-
get it.
Golfin Old Galaxy.
Golfin Old Galaxy.
We're getting ideas.
We're in talk
like
with Elon
that.
about that one. So.
Well, listen. Like on a more serious note, I got to ask you this because I don't want to forget. In our road to Pine Valley, there's been so many hurdles, so many things we're trying to do to get it done. You guys have banged out 20 courses already out of your 50. What's like the one bit of advice you would give us in your process of doing this? Because it is a grind and it's a lot.
Ask for forgiveness.
Yeah,
I live like
That's-
that though.
that's our biggest thing is whenever we ask someone if we can film, it usually doesn't really go the best. But I think it's really important to take a break.
Yeah.
Because when we go on these trips and we're golfing for 4 days straight, filming for 4 days straight, that last day gets really, I'm sure y'all know because I know y'all bang it out for a week straight.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it's worth the money to take an extra day to just chill, because that last day you're not, performing your best. You're not entertaining. So yeah, I think it's really important to just kind of take a break sometimes.
I like that.
Which is hard to do, but
Yeah, I like that advice. I mean, we're going to Myrtle Beach in a couple weeks. We're playing. There's another one, 6 rounds over 4 days.
Yeah.
But we have one day where we're just playing 18 in the morning, and we have the whole rest of the day to just relax, take a break.
Right. But that's the thing that so many people don't realize, that what goes into the hard work that goes into creating the content that you guys create is like, it costs a lot of money to do this, to fly all over and be, and you sometimes start to think like sometimes time is money, like to be in an area where you'd be like, oh, I could do one of two things right now. I could drive 2 hours to the next state and get something done, or I could rest my body. And it's a decision that has to be made. And I think it's smart of you guys to do that and not burn yourselves out on it, because your audience, especially, they're so in tune with you guys. They see what you're doing, and they'll pick up on it if you guys aren't out there enjoying yourselves. And I think that's one of the things we all love the most about watching you guys is that you're genuine, and we can see that you're having fun out there. So that's wise advice. I appreciate it.
Yeah, because last week in Florida, we did our Virginia, Tennessee, Maryland swing, and then we flew straight to Florida from Baltimore. And we just took 2 days to chill in Florida. And then we played for Grant's channel and then filmed some stuff for us as well. And that's just a much needed break to really recharge and be your best for content.
If we didn't have those 2 days off, we would have been dead. I mean, even after we were about to play the final round the day we were flying home. And BustJack gets up from lunch and he goes, "I'm tattered." And I was like, that's a perfect word for it. We're hanging on for 9 more holes and then we're out of here.
Well, and the thing too is, it's not just the golf. Like what I think a lot of people don't realize is that you guys are effectively a 2-man content team. Like, right? You're still doing this all in house, right? Filming, editing, all that stuff. Like, I mean, I've seen a lot of other great channels on YouTube, but they've got a huge supporting cast around them, filmers, people filming, people editing. But tell me, I mean, unless I'm missing something, it looks like it's still just the two of you guys.
Yeah. Just the two of us, 2-man show. Sometimes we'll have Bradley out with us to do some filming. Like whenever we got the confirmation that we were filming with Josh Allen, and then we filmed with Fat Perez actually the day before Josh Allen. We're like, this is like some of our biggest videos we'll film. So we called up Bradley and was like, hey, we'll fly you out here. We need a cameraman just so he can be hands off and like, actually be focused on interacting with Josh Allen rather than worrying about the camera stuff. So sometimes we'll have some help on the camera, but everything else is pretty much just us. And we've kind of announced it. We haven't like formally done a announcement video, but we're actually in the works of a bigger project than the 50 states really, is a documentary of everything that we're doing behind the scenes for the series. So shout out to Justin for that, because he's been killing it.
Yeah, that's cool.
I would say I'm stoked to see that, because like I said, that was one of the biggest reasons we wanted to get you guys back on the show, is like we're getting to see all this great golf at great golf courses, but I just know there's so much more that has to be happening between the lines, like to make this get done. So that'll be cool to see.
Caught some gold in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, absolute gold in Baltimore. I mean, we landed at like 1 a.m, had a rental car reservation, go to the rental car facility, and they're out of cars. And I mean, it was incredible. We caught all that on film. So like, that's what I'm most excited for people to see, is like the stuff that behind the scenes, like you said, that goes into it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's
it ain't the first time.
Wearing a lot of hats. I mean, not only that, like you're doing all your own travel. You're arranging your own travel arrangements. It's true when I say 2-man team, it's a 2-man team. So when can we possibly expect to see that documentary? Is that something that's going to come out after the series, or is it somewhere along the road?
It'll be the 51st week. So after the last state, it'll be that next week. We're kind of planning it on it to be like an 1.5 to 2 hour long film, just of like interviews of our family and friends, of people that we played with, of all of our guests that we had on, and just kind of have a little backstory as well of how we started and how we got this idea brought about. So it's incredible already. Some of the footage that Justin has got is absolutely crazy. and he's the real deal. So we're really excited about the project.
Yeah, and we're a 2-man show, but we do have a team around us that helps us. So, like, yes, we plan our own travel. We film it ourselves most of the time. BustJack edits it, but there's a whole team. There's Josh, Joe, Justin, Jackson helping us through this entire thing.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I say you got to have that support, but I'm just amazed at how much you guys are able to accomplish, and just from guys who've done nothing nearly as overtaking like something as big as 50 states in 50 weeks. Just the stuff that we've done with planning and traveling, it's just there's a lot that goes into it. Yeah. So it's exciting. I'm excited to see you guys continue this series. I'm excited to see you guys cross over that 100,000 subs mark, which may even happen before this episode comes out. You guys are that channel's popping so quick. So excited to see all that, and for sure, hopefully get a chance to link up with you guys when you come to our home states here in New York and New Jersey. Would love to see you guys again. But Absolutely. Good luck with this series, and yeah, Golfin Old Galaxy. That's the next step. We're waiting for that one too. But thank you guys.
You're gonna want a percentage. You're gonna want a percentage of that, huh, Mike?
Just a little taste.
Okay. All right.
Or just a shout out when you get to Mars or something, just so you can follow. Go subscribe to those Golficity guys.
Get that Mars shout out. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, thanks so much for coming on the show. Appreciate the time, and keep the grind up. We know we'll be watching along. Love what you guys are doing. Really exciting to see. Keep it going, and we'll. I'm sure we'll check back in again soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having us.
All right,
see you in New Jersey.